Hey you, yeah you who clicked on this video. Thanks for giving our channel a shot. And if you will, please do us the honor of watching the video all the way through. Appreciate it. Now onto the video.
A bit of heroes. Today we're going to be checking out season 2 episode 5 of From, entitled Lullaby. So let's get into it. So this episode starts out with Randall being accosted by the monsters because he popped off, got out of pocket with Donna, with Boyd, with everybody really. And so he finds himself living on a bus with no window coverings, and the result of which is that the monsters, of course, knocking on the windows, knocking on the doors, trying to get him to open the doors because he still has the talisman attached. Now, this is an interesting scene just because, because they're annoying him and are not allowing him to sleep. He starts talking like big, powerful shit. Like he's like really like yelling at them. I mean, he ain't stupid though. He crazy, but he ain't stupid. He ain't about to take that talisman off that door, and he damn sure ain't about to walk out or open that door. But he's telling them that he's not afraid. And it's funny that when he says that he is not, in fact, afraid of them, they seem to be disinterested in him, and yet he's still acting like he wants the smoke from inside his safe location, telling them not to turn their backs on him. So then we get Jade, who sees a man holding the journal in I guess this is a dream, and the symbols start bleeding on the journal. Then he wakes up just completely scared out of his mind. Then we go to Boyd sitting at the church. He hears a persistent knock at the door, and Sarah comes up for whatever reason, like she don't need to be hiding or nothing, like she can just be free and alive. And he tells her to go back downstairs and that he'll handle it. So who's at the door? None other than the Matthews. Mr. and Mrs. Matthews, Tabitha and Jim come up, and they trying to figure out why this broad ain't in the box, because she has killed 4 people technically. And because of that, the rules that Boyd put in place state that she's supposed to be put in the box. He tells them that, she could be valuable, and they're reluctant, but they take it. But not before Tabitha has some choice words for Sarah's ass, telling her she bet not show up around Ethan or them or their family, because if she does, then Tabitha says that she wants the smoke and she will handle it. She will put her in the ground, basically. So then we get to that whole thing being handled, even though they leave, but they still kind of don't have the answer that they were looking for. So then we go to Ethan. Now apparently Ethan will not come out of his room because he's heard about Sarah's return to the town. But in a twist, Ethan actually asks his parents to talk to Sarah. Then we get with Christy and Mary, the happy couple, back reunited, and it feels so good. And Christy and Mary are now basically trying to rekindle their relationship. And Mary gives Christy a shirt that she used to wear, and Christy tells her that that the time she spent away may or may not have changed her, and Mary reassures her that that doesn't matter. We'll see. Time will tell. So then we get to, oh boy, Sarah leaving the damn church after Boyd told her to sit her ass down. What are you doing, ma'am? What are you doing? So she's wandering around, going to the house where her and her brother used to live. You can tell the weight of what she's done is heavy on her as she smells her brother's old shirt. And lo and behold, of course, we knew this was going to happen. There's some new people living there because that's how this town works. So obviously they are very unhappy with the idea of her being in their current home. They tell her that they know about her and that she needs to promptly get all of the F out of their house. So she gets kicked out, and we see that she's looking for an ornament that her brother kept. So then we get to Jade, who makes a replica of the symbol out of bottles in the old bar. And I don't know why he needed to do this with bottles, what the significance of this is. Maybe we'll find out later, who knows. But Victor walks in, and Victor tells Jade that he'll tell him about the man in the photograph and about the symbols, or at least what he knows, if here we go. If Jade will play the violin for him, but not just play the violin, Victor would like Jade to play the violin in a place of Victor's choosing. So off they are on their little adventure. Then we have Tabitha and Jim, and they're talking about letting Ethan speak to Sarah. Ethan tells Tabitha about facing his fears and how if he can face his fears, then they'll no longer be scary. Then we get to Donna and Boyd, and they are having a conversation about Sarah. Donna is no fan of the idea of Boyd flouting the rules just because it suits him. She brings up some old memories about Boyd's wife, and yeah, that's that. But Donna thinks that the only person that should be able to really make a decision as to whether or not Sarah stays out of the box is in fact Tien Chen, Kenny's mom. So then we have Sarah, who's walking around begging to get dropped. I mean, she is literally just walking around town like it's all good, like somebody ain't gonna run up on her with a brick. When, to our surprise, Ethan pops up and he lets her have it. He tells her that, that, hey, you survived in the woods, and the only things that can survive in the woods is monsters. So guess what that makes you, Miss Sarah? A monster. So, of course, Sarah, feeling as bad as she already does is now feeling worse thanks to, I don't even know how old Ethan is. How old is he? Like 6, 7? Yeah, 7-year-old just brought you all the way down, ma'am. And you deserve it because, even though you were under the influence of the area that you're in and the voices that you're hearing in your head, you still made a decision to try to put hands on people and, in fact, kill certain other people. So then we get Victor, and Victor takes Jade to the spot where he wants him to play the violin. And it's interesting that all of these cars from people that have wandered into the town, and Victor tells Jade that he in fact is the person that put these cars there because he didn't want to see them, especially after what had happened when he was a young boy, the massacre that occurred and everybody being dead and him basically being on his own. So we see here that, there's a really nice side to Victor. He apologizes to Jade about being angry with him for the whole violin thing. And then he asks him to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star while he sits on his mother's old car. And this is really just a touching moment. So then we go back to the church where Sarah is, and Elgin comes in, asks if he can sit there. And of course, they have a moment together where they talk about past experiences. Elgin tells her about his grandma who he used to go to church with, and I'm assuming that she's passed and he was visiting her via bus, I guess visiting her gravesite. And she tells him about her brother and that they used to collect ceramic ornaments. And then it gets real awkward because she tells him that she, in fact, murdered her brother, and he basically tries to disappear just like Homer in the bushes. So then we see that Ethan returns to Tabitha. Jim lets Tabitha know that everything went all right, but it's time for him to go do some chores. So Julie and Ethan go to peel potatoes. Julie starts building up that totem again, and then we get to Sarah again, doing the most. So Sarah takes it upon herself to go to the diner to speak with Tien Chen, not just to, I guess, clear the air, but also to see if her ornament is in the storage where Tien Chen runs everything. So Tien Chen lets her have it and tells her exactly how she feels, returns her brother's belongings, and as Sarah is exiting the diner, Kenny rolls up, and Kenny wants the smoke. Kenny not only throws down her belongings, takes the exact ornament that she wants from her hands, and then proceeds to break it against the ground because, yay, you killed my dad, the least I can do is break your crappy little ornament. So upon this, Kenny tells her that she is no longer welcome at the diner and he bet not see her over there or she will be put in the box by him personally. So as the town looks on in confusion, Elgin helps her gather her belongings. Then we go to Mary and Christy. Mary's giving Christy a haircut. and the old woman, oh God, what is her name? I don't even know. Old woman from the bus. It'll come to me in a minute. She comes to give Christy some liquid morphine because I guess she had been diagnosed with cancer a while back, and they gave that to her because as basically a last resort to alleviate any pain, because I'm guessing that her cancer is terminal. So we see that happens, and she tells Christy that Sarah is actually in town. So Christy, she blames herself for a lot of what has happened, and she goes out storming off before she's stopped by Mary. So then we get back to Victor and Jade. Victor tells Jade that the man in the photo's name was Christopher, and that Christopher used to be a really cool dude, used to be real nice, made people laugh, until he started seeing and drawing the symbols, and then he was not so nice after that. And shortly after he started seeing and drawing the symbols, the massacre happened. Basically, Victor's mom told him to hide, and when he hid and the screaming stopped, he got out of his hiding place and everybody was dead. So now we see Tabitha again, who's rebuilding that totem in front of the cave. I guess she's trying to trigger a vision, so she's like yelling for the children to come and be careful what you wish for. So a bunch of the children start whispering, and then the whispers turn into full-on yelling, and they're yelling this phrase over and over again. Angkui, Angkui, and then the children continue to surround her, and she realizes that she got more than she bargained for and huddles into a ball until Jade pops up and tells her that he did not see or hear anything. Then we get to Randall, who is now removing the seats from the bus. Boyd and Jim talk about Sarah, and Jim tells Boyd that even though he doesn't necessarily agree with Boyd's decision about Sarah being free, he tells him about the voice in the radio and says basically between him knowing about Sarah and Jim's voice on the other end of the radio, they need to work together to figure out what exactly the place they're in is. But Boyd, who's basically on a mission to go talk to Tien Chen, waves off Jim for the time being, but you can tell that he's considering what Jim is talking about. Then we find out, surprise, surprise, Mary's a junkie. So she sneaks the medicine that the old woman gave them, the morphine, and takes a little bit of it. So we'll find out more about that. And, dollars to donuts, that's definitely going to affect her and Christy's relationship going forward. Especially when the stuff runs out, because there's a finite supply of opioids and narcotics, as we can plainly see. So this is going to come to a head, I'd say, rather quickly. So at the end of the episode, Tien Chen and Boyd begin to talk, and that's where the credits roll. So what do you guys think? What do you think is going to happen to Sarah? I'm really thinking Sarah's going to end up in the box. And I also think that the monsters are not going to do a damn thing to her. I think she'll survive it. What do you think is going to happen with Christy and Mary? Do you think that Mary's addiction is going to put some strain on their relationship? What about Kenny? Is Kenny going to, in fact, reclaim his status as Boyd's deputy? Will Boyd be able to protect Sarah? And what's going on with Ethan and Tabitha as far as seeing these children, the boy in white? And will Victor and Jade be able to figure out what's up with these symbols? Let me know what you think in the comments section, and we'll see you on the next one. 8-Bit Heroes out. Peace.
If you'd like to get a shout out on the channel, then hit that like button, maybe share it with a couple of friends, and do us the biggest honor of all, and subscribe to the channel so you can join the 8-Bit Heroes family. And while you're at it, hit that bell icon so you can be notified when our new videos come out.